Hello and welcome to the latest episode in a series of Unprofessional podcasts. It's Beard Edition for November of 2019, episode 22. Well, it's only just November, it's the November 25th. You know, when I first started doing these podcasts for Patreon, it was like, oh yeah, we'll put them up the first week of every month. That has not, that has not stayed true to the original vision. But it's still November, so yeah, sorry about that. The last 4 weeks since October have just been a complete mess. I haven't been on camera in 3 weeks, I don't think. So yeah, it's just been difficult to film. Partly due to my shit going on, and then the days where I'm good, I can't film because there's someone home, or it's just fucked. But we're doing this, I've got a moment to do this, so we're going to get it done. Got to try and get the making of October finished at some point, hopefully this week. And yeah, get back into doing some Thai stuff. But yeah, last month I was at PAX. We had the casting couch edition of the podcast, and I was on camera, and everyone was warm to that idea of doing the podcast on camera. I don't see the appeal, especially now I got this fucking scruffy neck beard happening. But it'll make these podcasts a lot more efficient to get out doing it on camera. The only reason we hadn't done that before was when Cal was doing the podcast with me. It's just kind of awkward to have webcams going, and sometimes we're doing them at weird times of day and stuff like that. And so I was just like, oh, we'll just have some gameplay or whatever, something to look at, or relevant images on screen to what we're talking about. I feel like this mic is too far away right now. Maybe I should do something about that. Hang on. Welcome to the Unprofessional podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I won't fucking hang on. Alright, that's a great camera angle, Jack. Nice one. Testing the audio volume. Let's bring that down to there. Alright, that's a bit better. Right. Right, now that I've fixed that shit. Yeah, I thought it'd be fine over there, but it's a little bit closer now, so it should sound a bit better. As I was saying, this is the Unprofessional podcast, and shit messes up sometime. The entire Square Jack channel is quite unprofessional from time to time. And yeah, it sucks because we've had Hawktober 2019, which was this big thing. The whole year was centered around A, getting Hawktober done and giving that as much time as possible, and B, getting Tasmanian Tiger done. And neither of those things have happened. Hawktober was finished, but it did not have as much time as I would have liked it to have in production phase. And Ty's not going to be finished before 2020. It's just not going to happen. I might be able to get one episode done in time for Christmas or New Year, but we'll just have to see what happens. And it's frustrating because the entire year of the channel has been fucked with just trying to get stuff done and having consistent uploads to try and make sure those two things happened. And so we fucked the whole thing up, and then those things didn't happen. And then now we're just in this spot of like, well, everything was fucked for no reason. I should have just had a normal year and not stressed as much about it. But oh well, that's what happens. That's why next year I'm going to try to just reduce the amount of long-term plans I have and just focus on what do I want to review right now. Oh, that's Mario? Cool, let's review some Mario or whatever. So yeah, it'll be for the best. The problem is I can't get started on that stuff until I finish this year's crap, which has been the difficult part. But yeah, we'll just keep trying to push through it and keep trying to get shit done. I want a making of October out soon. I want to try and get a Thai episode done. And I guess other than that, there'll be the Christmas CTR episode, which those CTR episodes are starting to really not perform well. And it's like, well, do I just keep doing them because I'm doing them, or do I just fucking leave them, drop them dead after Christmas? Like, what do you do there? So Yeah, it's difficult trying to figure out, that's what I was getting at. The frustrating part is that even though shit didn't work out, October still did really well, and the channel has done the best numbers in the last 3 or 4 weeks than it has done ever, in a lot of areas. Mainly in part thanks to every Tony Hawk level ranked, which I was prepared for that to flop, and it did the complete opposite. It's the most successful video I've ever had. Couldn't follow it up with anything, and that's the frustrating part that fucks me up in the head, is not being able to follow that up with anything major. When plan A was to have a medieval 4-part series right after that, and then that got scrapped, and then it was like, oh, we'll have the other 2 Thai episodes done. It's just it's crazy. You can see on the YouTube analytics, you've got these big boosts where the Hawktober is, and usually that'd drop off afterwards, but it kept going because the levels video did so well. And then I upload a testing episode with Barbie, and it sunk. And then I upload a CTR episode, and it sunk again. It's just like, oh, it's like all of that, and the channel is back to where it was fucking 3 months ago. Like, but oh well. Anyway, that's the update. That's the channel update. I want to have a bit of a movie discussion today, because I went and seen probably one of the best movies I've ever seen, which was Joker. Now don't worry, there will not be any spoilers here. I'm going to keep this spoiler free. But yeah, Joker was amazing. Joaquin Phoenix, I don't recall ever seeing him in another movie before. I actually went and looked at his filmography, and I recognize some of the movies there, but I haven't seen those movies. He was amazing as Joker. The entire thing, it's weird to think about, because it's a movie about this psycho serial killer crazy clown character who's like one of the biggest villains ever, next to Darth Vader and Mr. Burns from The Simpsons and whoever. One of the biggest villain ever, the Joker. And they made him, like, they had the most relatable movie for him ever. Like, it's weird. Like, it's so easy to project yourself onto Joker in this movie, because the whole thing is centered around mental health and conditions and stuff like that, and like depression and anxiety, and it's all stuff that everyone experiences at some point in their life, which is what makes it so relatable. And that was the part I was not prepared for. I was expecting to really enjoy the movie, but that was an aspect I was just not prepared for whatsoever, just how relatable it would be. And especially for me at a time when I'm having not the best year at all, and I'm fucked, and I just it was eye opening watching that movie, and it was like some of the stuff that Joker was going through in that movie, I'm just like, holy shit, is this a biography about my life? It was crazy. It was crazy, especially since I can be pretty insane sometimes. So yeah, that was great. And like, just in general, like the whole just atmosphere of the movie, and it's just dark, real, gritty tone. It was amazing. Like, it was so good. I've had it in my mind. It's hard to figure out if it's the best Joker or not, because Heath Ledger's Joker from the is it Christian Bale? I forget all these fucking people. I'm the worst. It's not Christian Bale, I don't think. Is it Christian Bale? Hang on. The Heath Ledger's Joker. Why so serious? So, oh, it is Christian Bale. Yeah, there you go. Wow, I actually remembered an actor's name. That's pretty rare. Heath Ledger's Christian Bale played Batman, obviously, not Joker. But Heath Ledger was played by Joker. I'm a fucking mess. Can you tell I haven't been on camera for 3 weeks? Heath Ledger played the Joker in that movie, and it's just, that was probably the most iconic Joker ever. Like, it's just such a great job, and just this really just twisted character. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, even though that's the problem, we've spent so much time with Heath Ledger's Joker. As far as that movie come out over a decade ago, I think that come out in like 2010. I want to say 2010, maybe 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. It's been about a decade, I think. So we've had a lot of time to appreciate that Joker and that performance. But the flip side is this new Joker. He's the full movie. It's his origin. So you almost spend more time with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker than you do Heath Ledger's Joker. And when I say that this new one is so relatable, it's really tough to pick a winner of like which was better. And I don't want to have to pick a winner because they're both great performances. Um, I will say that as far as psychotic goes, probably Heath Ledger's Joker. Um, I feel like Heath Ledger's Joker will probably have more um, long-term mainstream attention because it's already had 10 years of mainstream attention and it's still just as good as it was. So it's got the age there. Um, but yeah, Phoenix's Joker is definitely the better character, if that makes sense. It's definitely the better character. Um, which is great. And it's weird because the movie was only planned to just be a standalone movie, and it's very clear when you watch that. Um, it was you can tell it's weird. You can tell with watching certain movies, like the first Star Wars, A New Hope. You can tell that was designed to be one movie, even though there may have been all this extra stuff, just backstory, either planned or considered for the sake of figuring out this movie. You can tell that was written as a single standalone. Here it is movie. Um, and Joker's very much the same. However, even though I know it would never be as good, and it would ruin the vision of only doing one movie, I would actually love to see a sequel because I just feel like we spend the whole movie doing the origin story. I'd love to see a more traditional movie where Joker's running around as the villain and he might have a hero to go up against, but tell the story from the villain's perspective. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if Batman would be in it or whatever, but if he was, it wouldn't be there a whole lot. That's the thing that always weirded me out with the Christian Bale movie was that God, there's so much of that movie that's Batman, even when he's not being Batman. And there's so little amount of the Joker. Well, maybe if we get a sequel with this new one, they should flip that and have most of it be Joker, and then here's a few bits where Batman is also there, so that it's more focused on on um on the Joker instead of the Batman. Um, and yeah, Joaquin's performance was just so good, and it got so dark and so real that I'd just love to see that version of the Joker, that character that we spent so much time with. I'd love to see him just go full psycho constantly and see how that affects his psyche. Like, if does he feel remorse? Is he conflicted? Does he have regrets? Or is he getting stronger with bloodlust? I don't know. Like, I want that's what I mean. It wouldn't be as good as this first one, but I'd still be totally open to see what they did with the character and how much more dark it could get, because this movie is so dark already. It surprised me how full on and intense it was at times. You'd go from laughing because just almost, it's weird, you'd go from almost laughing at Joker, which is the entire premise of the movie, is that people pick on him and all that sort of stuff. You go from laughing at him because he's such a nut to just being on the edge of your seat, fully clenched, just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is insane. It's just a roller coaster, and that's what any good movie should do. Sorry, I'm staring off in the distance a lot. I'm just looking at my window. Um, but yeah, so it got very dark, and I'd love to see it get darker. Like, just go just go full with it. I mean, they went full darkness with this. I'd love to see just I'd love to see this Joker in his psycho phase, with a more traditional movie where he's up to shenanigans and planning bank heists or whatever the fuck Joker does. That's the thing with Joker is like I'm not super familiar with the DC stuff. The first Joker I actually watched or had anything to do with was Heath Ledger's Joker, and since then it's now this Joker. Like I haven't seen Jack Nicholson's Joker. I haven't seen any of the old TV show or read any of the comics. I've seen Mike Matei's Joker. That's about the only other one. I never played the Batman Arkham games. I've seen a little bit of Joker in Arkham 1, but I never really liked that game anyway. Um, and it's weird because in my mind, Joker's this guy, like everything he does is a joke. Everything's a magic trick or a prank. And Heath Ledger's Joker, since that was my first proper exposure to the character, I was kind of let down by the lack of like weird circus shit, I guess. He has that one scene in the beginning where he pushes the guy's head onto the pencil. I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. And like that's like there's and then in that same scene, he hands them his card and it's the Joker card. That's about it for weird like jokes from the Joker, really. I mean, there's so many good lines, but they're not jokes, because in my head I always pictured him as this just nut who's always cracking jokes. So it was weird to see that. I feel like Joaquin's do I say Joaquin or Phoenix? I don't know. Phoenix's Joker, I feel like would be a lot more open to having jokes in a movie setting, because it can be difficult to write that in. I can imagine. But I feel like the way they've set up Phoenix's Joker is he's already pre-built with that sort of joking and messing around, and where it's realistic and dark. Like, there's one minor scene in the movie where he's dressed up as a clown performing at a children's hospital, and he's just dancing, doing his goofy get dance, and a gun falls out and hits the floor, and they all freak out. Like, and that's like that's the sort of shit I expect to see from Joker. Like, that's what I want. Is he's just clowning around, and then next thing it goes from 0 to 100 in a second, because it's like, what's gonna happen? So yeah, if we get a sequel, as much as it would ruin it, I guess the original would still stand in its own movie, and I'd love to see a sequel. Just to see more of that character, because like I said, Heath Ledger's Joker has a great character, and we've had longer to appreciate it, but we've spent more time with Phoenix's Joker and his character. And it's so goddamn good and so dark and relatable in weird ways, and it's just so good. So yeah, another really good movie I've seen recently is Klaus, which is a Christmas movie. I know it's a bit early to be talking Christmas movies because it's not December yet, but I remember it must have been. God, I went to see a movie at the cinema, and it was either Endgame this year or it might have been Spider-Verse last year. I forget. But they had a trailer for Klaus, and I just really was like, oh, that art style, it's so reminiscent of classic Disney movies, and it looked like a fun movie, a fun Christmas movie. And I was like, oh, I'll see that when it's out. Well, I didn't realize that it was out on Netflix right now, and I was here bored, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that. I'm like keen to watch this. It's not even Christmas, and I'm keen to watch Christmas movies. And yeah, that was another solid movie. It just like so many Christmas movies are really preachy, and just it's almost like a propaganda machine. Like, oh, the classic traditional American Christmas story, big house, big tree, all the family, all the presents. There's always drama at Christmas, but everyone always remembers to love each other. That sort of fucking crap. So it was nice that even though that sort of spirit was in Klaus, because it needs to be, that wasn't the focus of the movie. And yeah, it was really good. I'll say this before I get into it anymore. I'll say this before I go into it. Nightmare Before Christmas, I am not a fan of that movie. Admittedly, I've only watched it once. I watched it in 2014 after I finished Kingdom Hearts for the first time. And I went back and had a big Disney binge. And I'd never seen that movie. And I watched it, and art style's great. Aesthetically, it's amazing. Presentation, whatever. The actual movie itself, I just don't think it's that good. And even the aspect that Disney always nailed during that time, which was the songs. There's that first song at Nightmare Before Christmas, and then that's it. I'm not a fan of the rest of it. I don't know, it just didn't resonate with me. And yes, I've only seen it once, but I've tried to rewatch it numerous times, and as soon as that first song is over, it kills me flat. I just can't stand to watch it. And so yeah, with that in mind, watching Klaus, and there's themes of a less traditional Christmas with this movie as well. I was worried about that, but no, like that Klaus is amazing. The characters are all really good. The world is well thought out and developed. There's so many great just jokes as well, and it's very entertaining to watch. And it's not like ha 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 funny jokes. It just makes you chuckle and put a big grin on your face while you're watching it. This is amazing. The animation, it's beautiful, art style and all that. It's great. And it just gave me an appreciation for like where we're at right now as far as an entertainment industry. Just everything all rolled up into one. Traditional media like newspaper, magazines, television, they're dying off, right? They're sort of dying. And with these fossil forms of media, so as well as dying, this idea that animation is just for kids and that creative movies can't be successful and whatever, you know. And I mean, I say that, and it's like Spider-Verse, probably the best animated fucking movie since Treasure Planet, didn't even come close to doing the numbers that Endgame had. But Endgame is a summer blockbuster that's CGI heavy. It's had 10 years of build up, whatever. And it's just watching Klaus. It's just giving me an appreciation for where we're at right now with movies like Spider-Verse, which is getting a sequel, and I'm so glad that it is. We've got Klaus, which is a great Christmas movie, probably the best Christmas movie I've seen, which might be a bit of a stretch. Well, it's just that's probably not it, but that's the thing, so many Christmas movies suck as well. And like the only Christmas movies I tend to like are the sort of, they're not even really about Christmas. Like it's not, if Christmas isn't the main focus of the characters, then it's generally a good Christmas movie. Take Bad Santa, for example. I'm sure a lot of people scoff at, oh, Bad Santa. But like, I think that's a really funny movie. And even though it's very Christmas heavy, what's feeding the characters in that isn't Christmas on its own. It's other stuff, which what makes it so good. All this shit like the Elf and Santa Claus and even Nightmare Before Christmas. The whole focus is on Christmas. That's the end goal. And it's just that they don't work, I don't think. They're just tired as fuck. So it's nice to see a movie like Klaus. Yes, Christmas is a big part of the movie, but it's not the focus of the movie. It's the Christmas in that is the finale, and that's that. There you go. And it's about the myth of the character Santa Claus above actual Christmas. So it's good like that, I think. Again, it's more of a character movie than a holiday movie, which is good. But yeah, just to be able to see such a well written as well as just beautiful animated movie that isn't a kids movie. Sure, it's an everyone movie. Everyone can enjoy animation, you know. I've got family that it's like if they're fucking sick of television and there's nothing on to watch, but something like The Simpsons is on, for example. And I'm like, oh, well, why don't you watch The Simpsons? That's always funny, you know, especially if it's an older episode. Oh no, that's kid stuff. Yeah, it's The Simpsons. I'm too old for that stuff. But it's like Simpsons is still really good. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. Same with like, you know, the classic Disney movies. You know, they're for everyone. That's the whole point. And that's what I love about like Klaus is there's adult jokes in there that the kids are just haha that's funny, but the adults actually get some of the innuendo. It's not there's not a heap of them. It's not full of that stuff because it's for everyone. It's just a fun movie, and that's great. So yeah, I'm glad that along with that, we've reached this point with online entertainment where there is just this such a great appreciation for being creative and you know supporting artists and animators and you know you guys support me getting to do all my crazy shit. You know, it's just it's so fucking cool that we're at a point where creativity isn't being suffocated out of people because it's no, you got to get it 9 to 5. You got to any real movies will have serious actors in some romantic drama and fucking whatever, or some dumb turn your brain off comedy. You know, we can just have good shit, and it's nice to just be able to have good shit. And you know, Klaus and possibly even Joker may not have as long lasting impact on the film industry compared to stuff like The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger's Joker or some other Christmas movie or some other animated movie. But that doesn't matter because that shouldn't be the focus. It's not all about numbers. Unfortunately, that's not true. It is all about numbers. But I feel like that our generation. This is a very okay boomer moment. Fuck, I hate that, by the way. Our generation, we just have such a greater appreciation for if people like something, let them like it, and that's cool. You know, like, and that's great. And it's like, oh, it's not about being the most successful. It's about building your vision and then hoping that that translates into something, you know. So yeah, it's great to see two really awesome movies in the last couple of weeks. There's so many movies this year I've missed. I haven't seen Rambo, which I really want to see. I haven't seen what else haven't I? I haven't seen Toy Story 4, but then I'm just like whatever. I haven't seen. There was one. Oh, Zombieland 2. I haven't seen, but I feel like that'll just be a bit miserable. I've heard good things, but I feel like that'll be a bit of the trying to redo the magic in the bottle that was the first Zombieland, which I rewatched this year, and it's fine. It's not as good as I remember it, so I don't know. But if there's one movie I'm excited to see, it's Star Wars next month. I'm really keen to see Star Wars, which is crazy because I never used to even like Star Wars until Cal got me onto it, as well as other people, but Cal was one of the main people that was like, you got to watch Star Wars because episode 7's coming out. And I was like, okay, and I finally watched it, and then I finally got it. I finally got why people love Star Wars. And it's weird being a new fan and not an old fan, because while everyone is like, this new Star Wars stuff is terrible, it ruins the entire... I'm just like, man, these are fun movies. These are really cool, you know? And I think that's important as well. Not just because I'm not saying that my opinion is important, but I think it's important for people to take into consideration, no matter what the subject is. If you've played something your entire life, or if you've played a game for your entire... Let's use Crash as an easy example. I grew up with the Naughty Dog games. Many kids grew up with the Naughty Dog games. So when the PS2 stuff come along, it wasn't as good to us. But there are so many kids that grew up with the PS2 stuff first and probably have a greater appreciation for those. And that's fine. They might be wrong, but that's fine. No, I'm kidding. um, but yeah, and I think that's important with movies as well. You know, as much as as easy as it is for some 30, 40 year old who's seen every Star Wars movie and is a big film critic to just shit on Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies. I think it's important to remember that kids these days will probably like the movies 20 years from now will be the stuff they're shitting on because they've grown up with this episode 7, 8, and 9, and you know that's great. You know, that's what I mean. I feel like the people who defend the Star Wars prequels probably grew up with them. That was their introduction to Star Wars. You know what I mean? I think that's great. That's awesome. You know, but yeah, I'm really excited to see episode 9. The trailers and the hype it's got me. I don't look at every trailer and read into it, leaks and stuff like that. I just see the trailer and I'm like, cool, let's go and watch that. But yeah, from the trailer, I'm really excited to see it. From being that episode 7 and 8 has been my, not introduction, but the first Star Wars stuff that's been new since I've been into it. I'm keen to see that trilogy complete itself, with those characters. But then I'm also the sick fucking me is also really excited to see the outrage that's going to come from these movies. That's half the appeal of Star Wars at this point. It's just seeing people get fucking mad over stupid shit. Oh, Leia shouldn't be able to force move in space. Why? Fucking why not? That's great. Isn't the whole point of the Force is that you're just fully in connection with the universe? If we can speak with spirit holographs, why the fuck can't we just force through space? Obviously, she can't breathe in space. That's why she was sick when she got back to the ship. You know what I mean? Like that's how this shit works. Admittedly, the entire casino part of episode 8 was trash, just filler. But even then, I still enjoyed that movie, and I've rewatched it, and it's still fun. I prefer the Luke training Rey stuff in episode 8 to over Yoda training Luke in episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. I forget all the fucking numbers and names of them, I'm sorry. But yeah, Yoda training Luke in Empire Strikes Back, man, that shit bores the hell out of me. That's the problem with Empire. The start on Hoth is great. The end with fucking in the floating city, whatever it's fucking called, that's all great. Everything in between is fucking trash. I hate it, and it makes me laugh that like I really just don't enjoy those parts of that movie. That's that classic movie. Fast forward to episode 8, which is the same thing, really. Where the start is really good, the end is really good, but it's the middle portion that people hate. But there's part of that middle portion that I actually like with Luke training Rey, and that I'm not gonna be a fool and say that episode 8 is better than 6 because I'm not. Empire is definitely a stronger movie, with stronger characters and stronger arcs and that sort of stuff. But it's easier for me to watch episode 8. Oh, it sounds so bad. I'm gonna be crucified. This is gonna be the last image of me on the internet before I get murdered in my sleep. But yeah. Anyway, point being, Star Wars is gonna be great. I don't care what anyone says, and I'm also excited to see the response. I'm hoping. I have little faith, but I'm hoping that episode 9 might be able to change some people's minds to the sense of, this trilogy wasn't too bad. Because it really wasn't. I mean, at the end of the day, Star Wars is dumb action, dumb sci-fi action with some fun characters. That's all it ever needs to be. You know what I mean? It shits me, right? Because people scoff at, like, oh, Fast and Furious, ugh, what terrible movies. And it's like, yeah, they're fucking generic and basic as shit. But they're still fun. There's nothing wrong with a turn your brain off movie that you don't have to focus on. And for me, Star Wars is just as much on that level as fucking Fast and Furious. It's just dumb action for 2 hours, and we all go home with having remembered some fun character moments. That's fucking it. That's the whole point. You know, something like Joker from 2019, like that's a movie you have to sort of you have to watch that movie. You have to watch it. And that's great. But it's not something you can just put on and have in the background, because you need to watch a movie like that. You need to be focused on it. Whereas something like Star Wars, fucking put it on TV and just let it play in the background. And you could do that and only ever do that, and you'd still get the gist of the story. It's because it's just dumb action. You just watch the good bits, you know what I mean? Skip, fast forward the bad bits you don't like. Um, yeah, the Harry Potter movies are another example of that. Like, yeah, they're great movies with action scenes and big special effects and amazing characters, but they're just dumb action movies with some sparkly magic. Like, there's nothing special about them, you know. Um, so yeah, shit like Star Wars, it shouldn't be held to such fucking high regard, because it's really not. The first one, maybe. The very first Star Wars, A New Hope, maybe should be held to such high regard because it was the first one, right? I think that's fair. We can appreciate that one for what it did and what it's, started and whatever. But the rest of them, they're all fucking cash-ins. Anyone trying to say Empire and Return of the Jedi aren't fucking cash-ins or whatever, they fucking are. They are. They totally are. They're just cash-ins. Especially Return of the Jedi with those little Muppet things. See, that's a movie. When I watch Episode 6, I watch the beginning part with Jabba the Hutt. Then I fast forward to when Luke goes with Vader. I do not watch that middle forest shit. I do not watch it. And the fucking scene where they're attacking the planet, or defending the planet, sorry, with the little Ewoks or whatever they are. I hate that shit so much. So fucking much. So yeah, everyone's different. We all watch them differently. At the end of the day, they're all just dumb action movies, so who really cares? And my voice is... Can you tell I haven't fucking done anything in weeks? My voice can't even handle it. On top of that, I have been a bit sick, so apologies for that if I sound stuffed up or whatever. There's been a bad flu going around here. Yeah, right. Now I've done the movie talk. There'll probably be more movie talk next month. There's been rumours of Crash Bandicoot 2020. I'll start off by saying I haven't really followed this. I've seen some of the articles and read some of the details people have pointed out. There was obviously that commercial that aired with the weird mask following Crash around. I just kind of assumed, that's probably a new mask they're going to introduce in CTR. But now there's rumour of a new Crash game coming out next year, which means it's probably set for announcement at the Game Awards, similar to CTR last year, which had probably slotted in for a June release, late June, early July release next year. With things like Crash and Coco being playable as some details, and sorry, I should put spoiler alert. Spoiler alert on these rumors. None of this is confirmed stuff. This is all just rumor. And I won't even go into it all because I don't know it all. Yeah, talking about Crash and Coco being playable, potentially Cortex being playable, and something about using different masks to do something. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for a new Crash game. I really am. A new game. But I am kind of sick of Crash again. We had the Insane trilogy, which was great. Well, it was really good. It probably wasn't great, but it was really good. And then the following year, that got a little update. So whoop-de-doo. This year we got CTR, which has been really good, but I feel like that has burnt out so many people on not just... That's the thing I don't think people realize, is that when you've experienced burnout on a game, it's not just because you're sick of playing that game. You get sick of the characters as well. You know, like, and I mean, when I covered the Crash series in 2014, I could not stand the fucking sight of that Bandicoot for 2015. I was so fucking sick of it. I didn't even want to think about it. And yet I still did a top 10 Crash racetracks and a top 10 Crash characters. Because got to make YouTube money. But you fucking, I just hated Crash really bad. I was so burnt out from it. I just hated seeing the characters. And back then there wasn't characters from that series on my feed every day because of rumors and new games and stuff. So um, that's the one thing I'm feeling kind of burnt out on. It's just Crash in general. It's come back. I got rid of it in time for Insane Trilogy, but it's come back around again, um, which is kind of a shame. I'll still play it, obviously, and I'll still probably really enjoy it. I'm just a bit sick of it. I'm ready to move on, you know. I'm ready to be over it. And plus, I would have thought after CTR we'd get a Spyro, but then I guess because Crash has always been more successful than Spyro, um, Crash probably needs a new game before Spyro. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't really matter either way. Um, but yeah, a new Crash game. Let me spoil a video idea I had planned. I figure it's kind of obvious at this point what some of my plans were this year. I just had every top 10, every top 10. I just had every Tony Hawk level ranked, which was over 2 hours. I'd been teasing a different 2+ hour video all year that was supposed to release in June because, June was a big month for Crash Bandicoot. I feel like it's kind of obvious what I want to start 2020 with. It's already written. I just need to film it and edit it. I'm actually on the fence of do I do that to end this year and then get back to Thai, but I want to finish Thai first. But with the announcement of this new Crash game, I guess just pending. We're just impending doom. I guess we're just waiting to hear about it. I'm kind of nervous about doing that video because what I wanted to do with every Crash Bandicoot level ranked, there you go, I fucking said it. What I wanted to do with that was I wanted it to be sort of a full stop, a footnote, or not a footnote, what do you call it? A bookend, I guess, to the previous era of Crash from PS1 all the way through to Titans, because that was the first era of Crash, basically, and he disappeared for 10 years, and then we got the Insane Trilogy remake, and that seemed like a good spot to sort of like, right, Crash is officially back. Let's take this moment in time, this era of Crash, and celebrate it by ranking all of the levels, so that in the future we can look at the new era of Crash. You know what I mean? That was kind of what I wanted to do, and so I wanted to get this video finished before a new Crash game, which is why I wanted to try and get it up around the Crash hype in June. Obviously, I ran out of time with that, which is probably for the best because it wouldn't have fit because we're doing racing games and not traditional Crash games. Excuse me, my throat's very sore. It wouldn't have fit then anyway, but I'm kind of worried now because I sort of need to get that done before this new one comes out, and I just know that people are going to be like, "Oh, why don't you wait and include the new game?" And that's because I don't want to compare the new stuff with the old stuff because I feel like that'd be unfair, basically. And again, like I said, I want it to be a sort of to just a time capsule of that era of Crash so that we can hopefully have a new capsule in the future for whatever his next 10 years hold. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm expecting the game to be announced at the Game Awards this year. I feel like that's a pretty fair bet. And yeah, probably get the game in June again. So there's a good window there. I'll be able to get the video done, especially since it's already written. But yeah, I'm still kind of anxious about that as well, just because I don't know. Um, I know that that format of video is something people want though, um, and hopefully with some Crash hype on top of it, it could do even better. I don't know. I don't really want to think about that side of it because I just want to be able to do it. Um, but yeah, it makes me a bit anxious. Just sort of, it's cutting. It's going to be cutting it a lot finer than I would have liked. All right, I've babysitted a bird last night. They just come to get the bird. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. Something about Crash Bandicoot. Yeah. I'm excited to see a new game, especially just to because that's all I've wanted for years. It's just a new traditional Crash game, level based warp room structure. Get some crystals and some gems and all that good stuff. I just want more of that, some new stuff. I wish we could have seen some more of it for Insane. It would have been great. I don't know why we didn't get a level for Crash 2 and a level for, you know, Crash 1. But whatever. Whatever. But from the one level we did get, Future Tense, I have full faith that the dev team can make a good Crash game of their own. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. All right, let's get into some questions. Since we're on the topic of Crash, from Jake, what do you think of CTR Nitro Fueled Grand Prix going to be like in the future? And what is your opinion of Spire Reignited a year later? So from what I understand, the Grand Prix will be seeing updates for pretty much the next 6 months as well. Basically, that's what I imagine. We'll get a year's worth of Grand Prix updates. That hasn't been confirmed, but I'm imagining that's what's going to happen because there's still plenty to do. And there's been data mining done that's determined there's more Grand Prix to come after Christmas. But yeah, once it's done, it's kind of weird. I thought they were going to start to sort of rotate them again, so you could redo the challenges or keep progressing on the XP bars. But now you can just buy whatever items you missed in the store. So I don't know. I imagine they'll just sort of stop. There might be an archive of the videos, or you may be able to reset the XP bar if you wanted to do it again. I don't know why in fuck hell you would. You do it again every month when the new stuff comes out. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there, but I imagine CTR, if we're getting a new Crash game set to come out late June 2020, I imagine CTR will probably stop there. It may get a new Grand Prix featuring any new stuff from the new game, and then it might be over. And then it might be over. I imagine the lobbies will still be up, but that game will be dead at that point. So yeah. Which, I mean, if they can last a year and get a year's worth of regular players out of it, that's a fucking success in my eyes, especially in this day and age. There's no modern game I've played in years that's had me coming back to it. Even though now I've stopped coming back to CTR, aside from doing videos on it, it's still held my attention a hell of a lot longer than most games do. As for Spire Reignited a year later, I haven't played it since I played it for my review last year. I have not touched that game. Because, like I said, I'm burnt out. I've fucking played it. I've seen it all. You don't just play Spyro and not get everything because it's so simple to do. But yeah, I think the thing with Reignited, now one thing of note, now they have it available with all the content on the disc, so there's no download, which is a good improvement. It's just weird having different versions of games like that out there with no real knowledge of which is which. Like they don't look different, and usually with some sort of second release, it's like, oh, it's a deluxe edition with some extra content or something like that. I'll say that's the one thing I was hoping for with Spyro was some new levels. Again, like Crash, a new one for the first game, a new level for the second game, a new level for the third game. Why the fuck not? So I'm a bit let down by that. But yeah, it's still a good game. I had less issues with it than a lot of other people when it launched. So yeah, it's a good game. Like I said though, I'm still burnt out on Spyro, so I don't really have much to say on it, to be honest. Just the lack of the lack. It's weird. back in like the 360 era, every game had DLC, and people got mad that you had to buy DLC. Now we've got shit like the pit stop where it's just you're buying cosmetics all the time, and DLC has kind of died off. But like, I didn't mind the DLC model where if there's additional missions and levels, if you want it, you can get it, to get extra game basically, and if a full retail price for a game is $60 in the US for a 10-hour game, paying $6 for an additional hour of content, I don't see anything wrong with that business model. I really don't. As long as it's new gameplay and new content to sink your teeth into. But yeah, that model has died off a lot over the last few years, which is a shame. But yeah, anyway. Jake's other question was, why has Alec not been in videos for such a long time? Short story there is we've both just, I don't know, we've both just moved on with our lives, I guess. Was no bad falling out or anything's happened. It was just, I don't know. He wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in having him on anymore. Sort of moved on, and that's really the gist of it. Just things change, people change, and that's just what happens. We all move on with our lives. Really, the world goes round. And yeah, the only reason I haven't had him back on to do any sort of one-off stuff is that I didn't want people to think he was coming back for a regular thing. So it's just leave it. We did some cool stuff. There's lots of great videos that we did back in the day. And I'll admit part of the reason I haven't even really talked about that because I've been asked this question a lot. Part of the reason I haven't talked about it is because I didn't want there to be any like speculation to my answer. I was like, oh, let's read into it deeper than this. There's nothing to fucking read into. It's just fucking, we just moved on with our lives. Like, that's it. Like, so yeah, just, I don't know. It's just how it is, I guess. Yeah. Right. From Matthew. Are you planning to do any more specials like October next year, or are you just going to stick to more randomized and regular reviews? I like that regular is a word in that because that's really the gist. That's it. It's either Hawktober and big crazy specials that consume my entire fucking life, or it's regular consistent content. It's like pick one. And I think for next year I'm going to pick more randomized regular reviews. It doesn't mean I don't want to do specials. I still want to do them, but I need them to be specials and not a standard for the channel, if that makes sense. This crazy shit I've gotten up to the last few years has become an expectation. It probably hasn't become an expectation, but I feel like for me, it's expected. And I don't want that to be expected because then it's not special. And that's not to say I want to dumb things down and make it really simple and easy. I don't want it to be easy ever. But I can't do this big crazy shit on my own anymore. And it's almost counterproductive when the projects get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the payoff gets smaller and smaller and smaller with each one. And I don't do this for views and ad revenue and whatever, but I kind of do because I'm trying to make it a career and I have to consider that stuff. So yeah, it's just just killing myself for nothing. Killing yourself for no other reason than you want to do something. I mean, it's great that you get to do it, but it's probably not the best. It's probably not the most sound decision of your life. So yeah, what I want to try, I've talked about this in previous podcasts, if you missed those, I believe I have, as well as update blogs every week. But I want to try and get back to just being like, if I feel like making this, make it. Even if I'm working on something else, set it aside, I'll come back to it, work on this. Which is going to be difficult because I like to finish things before I start something new. But for certain projects, for bigger projects, that would really help a lot. Because if I had a big project like Thai, I could just work on it in the background at my own pace and no one would know I was working on it. And then next thing you know, here's a big project that just sort of come out of nowhere, even though I've been working on it on and off for a year, for example. So yeah, I want to get back. I do want to get back to being able to do more randomized stuff as well, like one-off episodes. The big thing I'm trying to get back to is focusing on series, because that was the one thing I wanted to do in the beginning, was focus on a series. Not just one series. I like let's just do every series. Let's just do everything. Um, that like in 2014, I did every Crash game mostly. In 2015, we did all the Jack and Daxter. 2016, it was all of Spyro. 2017, we did most of Sly. We started Hawktober. Um, 2018, we did Croc. And more Hawktober. 2019, we're doing Ty. We're just getting these big series done. I want to do the Mario series. I want to do the Sonic series. So I haven't fucking played them. I want to do them. I want to do the Rayman series, the Gex series, Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong, Metroid, fucking Ghosts and Goblins. I'd love to do a series on those games. Kid Clown in Crazy Chase. That's a fucking idea I've got to do those games. You know, I want to. That's the idea I had for my channel back in the day. Was I wanted to be the guy who looked at everything, because so many people. It's so easy to just be like, oh yeah, well, everyone loves the Naughty Dog Crash games. I'm going to review the Naughty Dog Crash games. And maybe CTR. And maybe all the really bad games that everyone else has already done as well. And that's it. Like, it's very easy to do that. But, oh, excuse me. But I always thought that gets a bit boring. And I like the idea of being sort of a one-stop shop. It's like, if you like Crash Bandicoot, you can find every single game on my channel, covered. If you like Spyro, you can see every Spyro game that we've got. If you like Tony Hawk, we've got every Tony Hawk game. You know what I mean? So I want to try and get back to that. Just to experience it and have all the knowledge, you know. And part of doing that means you do get simpler episodes sometimes. And that's the other thing I want to focus on, is getting away from this idea, like I said, that every episode has to be this big crazy thing. Because like a friend pointed out to me, people are just stoked to see you talk about the thing. Anything on top of that is it's great. But just talking about the thing in the first place is enough sometimes, and I think that's true. And I don't want to force these big ideas. You know, like Ty, for example. That was an idea that I had that vision for what I wanted to do for that. You know, I don't have that for every series, and I'm not ever going to have that for every series. So I have to get away from the idea that I need something like that to do a series. And I mean, that all stems from when I did when I did Ratchet and Clank. Man, when was that? The year 2025? No, when I did Jack and Daxter in 2015. I just did it. I just did the games because that was next. And back then there was no standards on the channel. I just did them. And in retrospect, I wish I'd waited to do them, because now I have those big crazy ideas for what I'd like to do for that. But I've already done the games, so do I retread the same ground instead of exploring new territory? Or do I just never let my vision come to be? That's the struggle. But I feel like that's what I'm going to have to, just deal with. If I have an idea, if I just want to do something and I do it, if I have a great idea later, then I can consider redoing it and do the big idea, and that's fine if I have it. But if I have a big crazy idea and I want to do it right now, then let's do it right now. Like with Croc, that idea, that was I come up with that while working on the first Croc review, because otherwise it was just going to be something simple. But then I was like, I had all this idea. I'm like, oh, what if a crocodile eats me and swallows me whole? But if I had the idea, I was keen to do it. I was right there in that moment. I fucking did it, and it was great. That's what I want more of. But I don't want to feel like that has to be expected. And I want that to be special when it does happen. which is why I want to try and get back to more simpler video. Call of Duty Finest Hour earlier this year is the example I'm using to say this is what I'd like to aim for on a regular basis. That video had some fun live action skits. There was some good jokes in there. It was a great. Here I am sucking my own dick, but it was had a really good review portion. Like I feel like the actual analysis of that game was done well. But it was still able to be fun. It had some live action stuff. It had some special effects. I was able to be creative with that episode, and it wasn't much more effort than normal. It wasn't like that was a big production. That was just, oh, I'll go out in the field for an hour and film there, and then I'll put the green screen up and move my camera around and just do it like normal. Like it wasn't much more crazier than that, you know. And that's good. And the thing with that as well, I didn't know what I was going to start 2019 with because I was so focused on Ty and Tony Hawk and Crash. And so I didn't know. And then I felt like playing Call of Duty. And I was like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll do that. That sounds like fun. I'll play that game. And then when I started playing it, I'm like, man, I should just review this because I feel like reviewing it right now. Let's do it. And I did it. And I'm really happy with that episode. So yeah, I want to get back to that. I want to get back to that for standalone episodes. I want to get back to that for series reviews as well. So if it's like, oh, I feel like reviewing Mario. Cool. Let's fucking do the 2D Mario games and and work on them in secret. Play the games. There's going to be fuck all to say. So the episodes are going to be short. So I can get them done in the background and then do a Hawktober deal and drop 5 Mario reviews in a week. No warning, no advertisement. Just, oh, here's a bit of a bonus. And great. That's awesome. Next week, we're game testing Sonic or whatever. I don't fucking know. That's what I want to get to. I just want it to be a lot more free like that. And try to... It's weird, you know, there's this old idea that if you act and hold yourself at the level you want to be at, then people will see that and treat you at that level, which is definitely true. To an extent, and I can speak on that firsthand, you know, but there is also such a thing as, not acting your age, or in this case, not acting as your size. This is the size of your channel. And I think that's where I've lost, oh, whoops, just kicked the camera, nice one. I think that's where I've lost track of things a bit, is that, you know, we're at 27,500 subscribers. Maybe I should stop trying to act like I have to perform for 270,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just scale it back. Work at about, instead of going 110% at everything, let's drop it back down to about a 60-70% efficiency. And work with the material instead of at it, you know, like it's something to be attacked and whatever. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And doing that should make things more efficient. It should result in more consistent uploads, and it should make things less stressful. And with more consistent uploads means that the channel will perform better, which means things will fucking work a bit better. And then I might be able to fucking, you know, get this thing to a greater point than it is now. You know, that's how shit works. So, yeah. Moral of the story, to answer your question about will I be doing more specials, yes and no. It really all depends. But for the most part, I'm trying to scale back on how much work stuff needs. You know, because Hawktober, that's a 4-month job. People don't realize that. That's a 4-month job. You know, or 3 or 4 months. Playing the games, and only the games, because there's so many to play. Writing the scripts. Doing all the other pre-production. Sourcing the games and hardware and whatever. Filming. And getting voiceover done and editing. Like, it's a long job. And it's very much Every game has to be played before I can write. Every video has to be written before I can film. Every video has to be filmed before I can start editing. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. And I want to try and get away from that, because by the time I'm actually in the real meat work, the real meat of the job, I'm fucking sick of it. I want to do something else. I'm having ideas for other stuff I want to do. So it'd be nice to just be able to not have to feel like shit needs to go up at that level of quality all the time, and it doesn't matter when it goes up. So yeah. Right. All right, from Radio Shadow. What would you do if Tony Hawk came to your house? I'd probably play a game with him. I'd be like, "What's your favorite game, Tony?" And he'd say, "Oh, glad you asked. My favorite game is iToy." I don't know. I'd totally play some games. I'd probably ask him a heap of questions. I'd probably get him to sign some stuff, and then we'd sit down, or we'd snuggle on the couch and watch one of his movies, and then the rest, as they say, is history. Your second question: what would you do if Radio Shadow came to your house with a copy of Powerpuff Girls Relish Rampage and a fucking kick the camera, Jack? Just kick the camera. What would you do if Radio Shadow came to your house with a copy of Powerpuff Girls Relish Rampage and a hammer? Where is it? I would force you to sit down and play through this entire thing 100% speedrun style. And then if you failed, I would hit you with the hammer. Just a big crack. Like Futurama in that game, you got the hammer. There we go. Radio Shadow, by the way, sent me this. If you couldn't figure that out. It got smashed up in the Scry Jack episode 100 finale, right near the end. And that really blows my mind, by the way, that it's like the episode 100, and that's over a year ago, and it only feels like 2 months ago. It's crazy. It's so weird to think, like, I sent this thing out there. It's like, send me your videos and I'll put them in the episode. And then, people were doing stuff, and then I get sent the stuff that they use. Like, it's this weird full circle thing. But yeah, that's what I'd do. You'd be forced against your will to play this game, and I'd hit you with a hammer while you do it. Man, I'm a real asshole. All right. Final question from Ian. Did you hear the rumor Tony Hawk is going to be in Smash Ultimate? I don't know where the fuck this rumor started. I feel like it's an old rumor that just sort of recirculated. But I see people finding things where it's like they think it's real evidence that he's going to be in it. I don't think Tony Hawk's going to be in fucking... There's also been rumor that there's been a deal renewed with Activision and a skateboarding game. I don't know the truth to any of these. I fucking hope not. Although it'd still be better than fucking Skate Jam. But yeah, I don't know where all these rumors start from, or if there's any truth to them. But like the idea of Tony Hawk in Smash, he'd actually be a cool character because you can hit people with the board, you can do lots of spins at people. But it's not gonna fucking happen. It's a video game mascot game. Like, they don't have movie characters or TV characters or fucking... And it's like... And like, Tony Hawk's not a game character. He's a real person. Just because most people don't recognize him in the airport doesn't mean he's not a real person, okay? But yeah, I don't think there's any truth to these rumors. I really don't. I'd be very surprised and shocked if Tony Hawk ended up in Smash. Because it's like, why? Of all the people you could put in Smash, like, where's Crash? Crash should be fucking way higher up the list of possibly being in there than fucking Tony Hawk. Like, seriously. That's fucking... Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Tony Hawk in Smash. I really don't. Maybe Tony Hawk should partner with PlayStation to make his own fighting league game and call it Tony Hawk All Stars, and you get Tony Hawk in there with fucking, I don't know, whoever, fucking whatever. You get what I mean. PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. It's a meme. It's fucking shit. From what I've played of it, the very little I've played of that game, it's fucking shit. So yeah, I got to review that sometime. So that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Sorry, back to the topic of like working on videos. That's what I want to get to. Like, for something like PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, that's the sort of thing where I couldn't not do something crazy for that. All these iconic characters, some of which I've already covered and dressed up as. There's no way I can't do that without doing some crazy shit, you know? And like, that's fine. I just don't want that. Like, if I don't have an idea like that, I just don't want to feel forced. I don't want to feel like I can't cover it because, see, here's the thing, right? Sorry, I'm all over the place. When I get an idea like that in my head, I can't not do it. You know, I have an idea for how I want to review the GTA games, for example. I have an idea for how I want to review the Donkey Kong Country games. And they're big projects, which means I'm probably not going to cover them without doing that stuff because I don't want to have to redo them or feel like I should have done it before, you know? Like, there's no point making something shit just to make it when I have an idea for how to make it really cool. The problem is that the flip side of that, sometimes I've looked at series and been like, oh, I do want to do this, but I can't do it because I don't have a crazy idea. That's what I want to get away from, you know? And there's one series in particular that's the perfect example for that, where it's like, I want to do it, but I haven't had a big crazy idea for it, so I feel like I can't do it because I don't have a big, massive idea. I want to escape that mindset so that if I feel like doing it, I can just do it, and there's no bad feelings about it. You know what I mean? That's what I want to try and get to, but it's going to take a little bit of time to readjust everyone's expectations, I feel like, which is going to be one of the hardest parts. But hopefully, in that process, we can keep growing the channel and bring more people in that are already tuned into that mindset, so that it helps to ease the pain a bit. Because I just know that, you know, people expect so much from me, so many big ideas. And I can't always do that. So yeah, especially at the size of channel I am now, it's just become unreal. I've outgrown my channel, is how I describe it. I've outgrown my own channel. But since there's no new place I can go that can contain me, I have to contain myself and drop it back a bit so that I, you know, can still keep this shit going. That's where we're at right now. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's all the questions, and that's probably all the time I've got as well. Jesus. So yeah, that's this month's podcast, guys. Thank you for all the questions. Be sure to drop some more questions for December's podcast down below. If you've got feedback on this episode and all that good shit. Yeah. Hopefully in the next few weeks leading up to Christmas and New Year, hopefully we can start to get a bit of stuff rolling again. It's counterintuitive because I want to take a break, but I really don't want to take a break. It's kind of weird. So, and I think it'll be best for the channel if I just try to get things going again and get back to a point where I can do this shit at the regular, consistent basis that I've established in the past, because that's what I've been trying to get back to for so long, and it just gets worse and worse. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you don't need to subscribe or do any of that. Fuck. I don't know how to end this podcast. I'm Square Eye Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Cheers, guys.